Hey guys, it's Hoop here. I'm a little bit sick, but I'm just going to keep going on about the moon. Couple more points to make. The first one just is out of interest. When the moon comes up, if you say it has a right-hand crescent, if you observe it going down, it will have a left-hand crescent. And the interesting thing about that is they're actually two different phases of the moon. They're 3 weeks apart. And you can see them both in the same night, depending on which way you're looking and what time of the evening it is. The anomaly, though, is if it's a half moon lit from the top, when it sets, it's a half moon lit from the bottom. Have a look. Do the research. Check it yourself. All you have to do is look at the moon rise, and then 8 hours later, have a look at the moon in the setting position and have a look if it's upside down. If it is upside down, then that means the sun, which was lighting it from the top initially, 8 hours later is lighting it from underneath. And no matter how you try to ratify that, doesn't work. Doesn't work. If the sun's lighting it from the top, all night the sunlight should be from the top of it. Okay? With the left-hand and right-hand side crescent, it does work. Because if the sun's off to the right-hand side, then as the moon passes over, you could say, there you go, that's the same reflection of sunlight. But with the half moon, the top and bottom half moons, absolutely no way you can ratify that one. So I encourage people to go out, do your own observations. My eyes could be lying. I'm not entirely sure, and I certainly haven't managed to get it yet on video because of different clouds. And yeah, just a different. When I've observed it, I haven't been out the night before and seen it rise. Anyway, it'd also be one easy to do during the day. If you see the moon like rising in the sky early in the day, then you're certainly going to be there to see it setting in the evening. And so that leads to why some people are questioning. Basically, our model of the moon is that it flies around us. It takes 30 days to complete one orbit of the Earth, and so we spin inside that orbit, 30 times, while it flies around us and does its phases and gets its reflection from the sun. And honestly, have a look at some of the research. Like, the phases, even the eclipses, don't make sense when you look at it this way. But I'm not even going to harp on all that. What I'm going to go right back to is that there is another model, and that is showing the moon obviously on the flat Earth and spinning around. And basically, no one is charting this. So it's time for flat earthers to start doing it, guys. It's not just, let's rely on the globe Earth version of the moon and let's debunk it. It's not a matter of, let's believe what the calendar says the phase of the moon should be, or what time the calendar says the tide should be rising at high tide. Have you ever honestly checked to see if the high tide was exactly at the right time? Anyway, or the moonrise? No, it's generally around there. Anyway, if we want to prove that the moon is orbiting around the North Pole, then we're going to need to start charting it. And that means if I'm sitting in Australia and the moon is north of me when it crosses, let's say it's in Capricorn, then if I'm in, somewhere above New Guinea, and I look and the moon is below me, then by, say, some people giving readings from Brisbane, some other people giving readings from Townsville, we'll start to get a really good idea of where exactly the moon is passing overhead. And we can track that and begin to build a path. And if that hasn't been done, if no computers are doing it, it requires people. It requires people to start taking the observations, to start taking the measurements. And I think that this balloon experiment is the perfect time for the world to jump behind it. And my best example of that is that if these two balloons can both see the moon, then anyone in between those two balloons giving a directional bearing on the moon will give us a really good indication of what it's doing. If you're in Greenland, you're in Canada, you're in Russia, you're in the Middle East, anywhere where that moon is going to travel over, you're going to see it either to your north or to your south, to your east. It's going to be there. And it's there every night. What you're not considering is what other people see of it. You just assume that, of course, their calendar tells them what it is. They see the same phase as us. So rather than just disprove, like I'm loving the cold light, the moonlight experiments, and I'm quite convinced by that. I think it's an amazing thing, and I'm excited by the thought that there is another form of energy or light that we could start playing with. I'm right into the electric and the plasma universe, so I think it's exciting that we could find a cool light. At the same time, we can't rely on science's observations of the moon if these are the people who are flying to it and landing on it and showing us photos of the Earth. So I mean that's fine. If you believe all of that, then don't question anything that they say. But if you don't believe their story about the moon, it's time to get a pen and paper out. It's time to tell the rest of the world what you see about the moon. And when the whole world comes together and puts this data together, maybe we're going to get a better picture. That's the piece I didn't get to say on the last video. I got edited out, was the more pieces of this puzzle that we can get,